Do you ever feel like life is passing you by and you're procrastinating on your biggest dreams? This can be such a disheartening feeling. And I think that learned helplessness can be the culprit in this predicament. Honestly, recognizing that something is happening brings us so much closer to overcoming it. So in this video, I want to discuss learned helplessness, what it is, and how to overcome it. Hey guys, my name is Polina. If this is your first time on my channel, and I'm just really passionate about living life to your fullest potential. And I don't want any of us to have any regrets when we are older and when we look back and think that we did not even try to pursue our dreams. That's why I think it's so important to understand your own psychology and understand how to overcome any self-imposed limitations and how to start taking action. Learned helplessness is about a perceived lack of control over a situation. And honestly, this phenomenon makes me feel really upset, angry, and disappointed. Because what it means is that someone outside of ourselves convinced us that something is not possible for us. And so we think that no matter how hard we try, we're not gonna get anywhere. We think that we are not in control over our own lives. And this belief is honestly just garbage. So we should work to discard of this belief, and we should work to create the life that we will be excited to live. This term was coined by Martin Seligman, a psychologist at UPenn in the 60s. And what the psychologist did is he studied the behavioral response of animals in certain situations. From what I know, he would electrocute dogs and they didn't have any means of escaping this very unpleasant situation. But then over time, the psychologist would open up a path for the animals to escape, but they had already learned that there's no way out. So they would just keep getting electrocuted without even trying to leave this situation. They just didn't believe the escape was even possible. So if we project the same attitude to humans, it's this kind of logic that, oh, why even bother trying? It's not gonna lead anywhere anyways, so why waste our time and resources doing something that is not gonna give us anything back? That is gonna be fruitless no matter what. Oftentimes, this condition is related to depression, and we can be preconditioned to believe that there is simply no escape. Maybe when we were children and someone told us something, we believed it and we internalized the belief that something was outside of our reach. But today, we're not children anymore. We can take control. We can change our beliefs. We can move towards something beautiful. We can move towards something where we want to be. We can do something. We can take action. And we don't have to believe those toxic limiting beliefs anymore either. So why should we even change? Why should we challenge this belief? Because guys, life is passing us by and we are not even fully living it if we are not pursuing our dreams. It's as simple as that. Recently, I got this book from Amazon and it's called The Joy of Missing Out. And I think it is very powerful. One of the most powerful things that it has is the time diagram. The author Tanya Dalton represents human lifespan with these hexagonal shapes. And once you see them on the page, you realize that we actually don't have that much time, just in general. Time is a very limited resource. And like she correctly points out, time is such an abstract concept that we don't necessarily think about it in concrete terms. But once you see it visualized like this on a page, it is a very sobering reminder. It instantly wakes you up to the idea that we won't be here forever. And that's why we should really make the most of this life. But also it's a very powerful reminder that ultimately we are the creators of our life stories, even when learned helplessness whispers to us otherwise. We are not those caged animals that Seligman was studying at University of Pennsylvania. So how do we recognize learned helplessness and how do we overcome it? I think the biggest sign that you might be struggling with learned helplessness is if you consistently find yourself thinking, why bother doing something? Or if you simply are not working on your dreams. If you are postponing your dreams when you know that you have them, but you're not taking any physical steps towards them. That's a pretty big sign that you might be thinking that this is not in your control. So how do we overcome learned helplessness? My tip number one is to get out of the victim mindset. And that's a really big one. You are not a victim of life. You can assume the role of a victim, but that will just mean that you're not in control of your life. But at any point that you choose, you can take your power back and you can say, no, I'm not a victim. I think that's just a much more powerful position from which you can change your narrative. I suggest that you closely observe your thoughts, words, and actions. Are you constantly blaming someone outside of you for whatever is happening to you in your life, even though you are an adult? I know being in victim shoes can be very soothing, but ultimately this is not serving you. Guys, if we remain in the victim mindset, we will not create the life that we want. The hardest step is to look around yourself and admit to yourself that this is the life you so far created and that you are responsible for this creation. I'm here to remind you, you are very powerful. No one can take this power away from you. You can do absolutely anything. No one has the power to render you a victim unless you agree to become someone's victim. My tip number two is to redefine your self-worth. My biggest issue with Western culture, or shall I say global culture, is how we tie our self-worth to our external achievements. I am here to tell you that you are worthy independently of anything. You have worth just because you are here on this planet. You wouldn't have been born into this experience if you didn't have worth. Don't let anyone convince you that you're not worthy. Say no to whoever is trying to convince you of that. You are loved independently of anything else. And even when culture is trying to convince us that we are never enough or we are not worthy, it's simply not true. I think that learned helplessness can definitely be tied to low self-esteem. I think living in this culture, we just keep hearing all of these negative beliefs here and there about how hard everything is and how luck plays this major role in the outcomes that people experience. And all of this persuades us that the control is out of our hands, but that's simply not true. I feel like once you start recognizing your own self-worth, you will feel worthy of taking the steps towards your dreams, and you will feel worthy of living the life that you want, and you will start taking all these actions. Because honestly, the bottom line of this whole problem is that we don't feel worthy enough to even take the first step towards our dreams. And this needs to end now. So stop this whole narrative. Start talking lovingly to yourself. You are the love of your life. I'm telling you. Why don't we start living our life from that premise? If you want to dive deeper into your self-worth and loving yourself, I highly recommend Louise Hay's books. She is just absolutely marvelous. I love her literature. I think her books are some of the best self-help books I've ever read. Maybe you will resonate with her message as much as I did. My tip number 3 is to pick up a new hobby or project. Sometimes our career can be such a loaded topic where all of this emotional tug of war kind of situation is happening that we simply need to pick something new where we can be striving towards something. My personal example is running. I started signing up for all these different races. I have my next one coming up in April. And for me, this is a low pressure way to explore something new, to show myself that I'm capable of improving, I'm capable of being disciplined, I'm capable of learning, and I'm capable of pushing my limits. It's very low stakes because there's no old limiting beliefs. And you do it mainly for fun, but you also do it to show yourself that you can. You are in control. There is no helplessness in this situation. I recommend that you observe how you're improving in this new project or hobby. And ultimately, we learn that if we can improve in something like this, we can project the same attitude towards anything else, the same persistence, the same perseverance, the same discipline, the same belief. can be channeled into anything else. It can be channeled into pursuing your dreams as well. I think this tip is very, very powerful. And I can definitely tell you that my running practice taught me a lot about going outside my comfort zone and doing something that might require a lot of patience. My tip number 4 on overcoming learned helplessness is to remove distractions. How often do we hide from ourselves in social media, scrolling through Instagram, or watching TV? I think this entertainment is really fun as an addition to life, but not as replacement for life. I encourage you to sit with yourself more. Sit with all of these uncomfortable feelings, because these uncomfortable feelings, they give us a clue that we are not pursuing what we want to pursue, that something is amiss in our lives. Go on walks or runs without headphones. Be with yourself. Stop hiding in social media. Stop hiding in someone else's life stories. Be in solitude more. Become aware of your learned helplessness pattern. And I think this might be very difficult because a lot of uncomfortable negative feelings can start surfacing, but you won't be able to run from them anyways. And the choice is honestly yours. You can sit with all of these uncomfortable feelings right now and deal with them, or you can remain sedated by all of this social media parade for the remainder of your life and then feel terrible regret at the end of your life. I definitely prefer the first one. Feel everything that you have to feel and recognize all of these patterns in you. Start dealing with these feelings instead of looking at your phone for hours on end. You are capable of creating your dream life, but it will only happen if you free up mental space for it, if you free up time for it. Learned helplessness is really tied to all of these addictive patterns. We hide in our social media addiction or any other addictions, so we don't have to face this. We can just remain in this, oh, why would I bother doing anything? We can just remain stuck in this pattern. But like I said, it will catch up with you eventually. And it's much better to start moving towards your dreams right now. My tip number 5 is to imagine that you are already old. Imagine you are, 90 years old and you've lived your life. If you continue going down the same path you're traveling today, will you be happy? Will you be filled with regrets? Or will you feel like you lived your best life possible? Will you feel like you gave it all? Because guys, ultimately, this life is like a game. We are in this computer game and we should really have fun with it. We should really explore it. We should really pursue what our soul is telling us to pursue. We have one life like this in this body, and this is not a rehearsal. What you're living today is your life. Sometimes we get trapped in these fantasies about our future. But like you saw in those hexagonal shapes from Tanya Dalton's book, this is not a rehearsal. Every year our life loses one of those shapes. So don't be on the sidelines. Realize what's important for you and start dealing with this learned helplessness pattern. Look for success stories, brainstorm how you can start. You don't need to know the whole journey. You just need to start putting one foot in front of the other. You just need to know the first step to take towards your dreams. And it will be such a fulfilling step. My tip number 6 is do not overthink. I encourage you to take action before you manage to overthink, before you manage to talk yourself out of it. Recently, I read this book. It's called The New Rules of Marriage by Terrence Real. And even though this book is about relationships, he also gives some personal advice in it as well. I really enjoyed the last 2 pages of the book where the author is just saying, even if you don't have it figured out, just do it. Do it disastrously, but do it anyways. We should share our gifts with the world, even if we don't know the final result, even if we don't know what it's gonna look like in the end. But we should do something. Do something today. Do something now. Do it even if it's scary or uncomfortable, or even if you feel like your action might be pointless. Do it anyways. This is very good practice in terms of acting. Let's not procrastinate any longer. You don't need to have the most perfect perfect plan ahead of you, but just do something. My own example is this YouTube channel. I don't have content planned out for the next year. I don't know if my content is good or not or whatever. I'm just experimenting with it. I'm putting it out there and we'll see what happens, you know? But I enjoy making these videos. I enjoy sharing this message, so I'm gonna keep doing it. My final tip is to enjoy the process and let go of the outcome. I actually didn't put this tip into the script, but I'm adding it right now because I think it is super, super important. Sometimes with learned helplessness, we can start taking steps towards our dreams, but then we are not achieving what we would like to achieve, like physical results are not showing fast enough, and we can slide right back into that learned helplessness feeling, and we can start telling ourselves, oh, this was outside of my power anyways, and I didn't have control over it. I tried, but it's clearly not working, so I should just give up right now. Guys, no, stop right here. Don't do this to yourself. You deserve better than this. You deserve to do what brings you joy. You will succeed if you just keep going. You will succeed if you focus on the process instead of constantly attaching yourself to the outcome. The outcome will come once you let go of it. The main thing that I want to convey in this video is that life is about enjoying the process. Living your dream life is about enjoying the process, not about enjoying the outcome. Yes, the outcome will definitely be so joyful, but the process is what counts. The process is what our life consists of. So build the most beautiful process, something that you will enjoy even without the outcome, and focus on that. Everything will come in the right time, and you have so much control over your life. You have so much control, it's unbelievable how much control you have. So guys, in the end, I just want to say, live your life. Live your life no matter what. Because ultimately, the question is, what do you have to lose anyways? This life is like a game, and we might as well enjoy it while we're still here. I believe in every single person who's watching this video, and I'm telling you that learned helplessness is a massive lie. Don't believe in it. Believe in your power, believe in your path, believe in your joyful process. Thank you so much for being here with me today, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.